contains mature language and adult discussions. You have been warned.
Need to redo that, I think.
Oops. Hi and welcome. This is the Video Store Podcast. We are
The Video
live.
Store Podcast?
Yes.
The Clerks.
Video Store Clerks. Oh, this is Video Store Clerks. And
Is this the first episode?
I'm multitasking.
Dave's multitasking. I'm Chuck. I'll be the host of the show.
We need a tech guy apparently.
I know. We really do.
It'd be a lot easier.
Little rickety
Well,
cricket.
anyway, welcome to the show. And tonight, as you can see, it is a very special night. It's New Year's. Happy New Year, everybody. I trust everybody had a
New Year.
safe and happy. Everybody survived, apparently.
At least we
Barely.
did.
And tonight, it is a very special episode. We're going to do a good movie. What? Yes.
We've done good movies.
The 1990 classic Warren Beatty film. We're talking about Dick Tracy. I was surprised to find out there was hate for this movie. What?
There is. Yeah.
What? I love this movie. And gentlemen, we can't wait to talk about it. And that's what we're going to do. So join us. Join us here. Join us now. Join us live. It is the Video Store Clerks Podcast. Bada boom.
Welcome to the store.
I love fish sticks.
Fish sticks, you say.
And tonight, as you can see,
Jeez.
joining us in the upper right corner is Big Boy Caprice's #1 hitman, Flat Top. Ah!
That is a terrifying mask. That looks more like
It
Michael
really
Myers'
is.
like little brother that just didn't make the cut.
Hey, Video Store Clerks, you better look before you leap, huh? Huh?
That is slightly terrifying. Can we speak to Michael now? Can we tap into Michael? Not that Michael, but that
I
Michael.
might come out and play.
That's that is a fucking terrifying mask. Jesus Christ. If I was a kid that like having to just run across that during like Halloween, that scared the fuck out of me. You know what? I'm getting ready to be 39 years old next week. That would still scare the fuck out of me. That's creepy. I like
Oh
it.
my God. That's how you kick off the show.
That's-
Welcome once
that's
again.
funny.
Please join us. The store is open. The chat is open. But before we get to Dick Tracy, we will start things off as we always do with the news.
It gets me every time.
And tonight,
Fucking
well,
exquisite.
the big story, of course, is Jeremy Renner. If you didn't know, he had a New Year's Day accident with his snowplow. He's still in the ICU, but he's doing better. We've gotten little trinkets here and there as to what even happened. His snowplow ran him over. And the last we heard, he's had 2 surgeries.
This is the first I'm hearing about this shit.
It happened New Year's Day morning, Sunday morning, I believe. The latest we heard is that he was helping a neighbor get dug out of the snow.
Yeah.
And some just freak accident. Ran over both his legs, his chest. He's all messed up. But luckily, he's tough as nails, so he's expected to make a full recovery. Hopefully, I don't know what kind of damage is done. Like I said, only trinkets of information have come out since it happened. I don't even know how something like that happens. How does that happen?
It's actually in related news. Ken Block, who's a rally driver, famous rally driver, was killed in a snowmobile accident.
Yep.
Freaking
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, and racing's in my family, but I'm not a big racer. Racing fan, but I was shown a video last night of this guy fucking going all over Hollywood in this fucking amazing looking car. And it's just fucking crazy, man. This guy died in a fucking snowmobile. Like, So it's freak accidents. You know what I mean? It's like Jim Fix. You know, the guy that was all about jogging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like he wrote a book about jogging. You know how to be. You know, he wrote multiple books about jogging. How'd he die? By jogging.
Crazy.
Got fucked up. That's just crazy. It's crazy.
In other news, so Megan was released over the weekend. It's done fairly well, all things considered. It's on track to make about 20 mil. Its opening weekend. Mixed reviews. The most consistent thing I've seen is that it's scary and funny. It's more kind of horror comedy, and everything you saw in the trailer is pretty much what the movie is. So you're not going to be surprised. I probably won't go see it. I'll wait for it to come out on streaming. But movie I most definitely will be seeing in theaters is Evil Dead Rise, in which we finally got our first trailer.
Yes.
And it looks amazing. And I must admit, I winced at the part with the cheese grater.
This shit looks great.
Oh, it looks awesome.
Ooh.
It looks amazing.
Hell yeah.
The end of April, the last weekend in April, I think it comes out.
No, 21st.
21st? April 21st, I'm sorry. So April 21st, God seems so far away. But so far, we're on track to have another good year in horror movies this year. So far, so good. I mean, it's only January.
I think it is going to be a good one. And the cool thing about Evil Dead Rise is it's going even further than what the reboot did.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like it's another like, and it's kind of like how Hellraiser is, how the main character is the box, you know, in Evil Dead, the main thing it all surrounds about this fucking book, you know, Necronomicon. And I love it. I think it has, from what I can tell, it has the same feel as a reboot. Even though I got into a funny, friendly debate earlier with a fellow drummer he said he didn't like the reboot, but this one looks cool. And I was like, why? And he couldn't give me a good reason. He's like, oh, well, the first one, I didn't like the feel of the first one. I'm just like, it has the same look and feel as the other one did. I don't know. I love the last one, and this one's going to be fucking cool, too. Like, it's going to be bad as fuck.
And I can't think of another. There was a lot of movies that were either going to theaters or were in theaters for a short time and got pulled to streaming. Halloween. This is the only one, and I might be wrong, this is the only one I can think of that was originally supposed to go to streaming, and they just took it to theaters. So that's, flipped it. I can't think of another movie that happened to. So all signs are good. All signs are good. We'll wait a couple months and find out. On the flip side of the coin, you know the movie Naked Gun?
Of course.
Guess what?
Oh, no. No. Are the rumors true?
The remake has been in talks since 2013 with Ed Helms was originally supposed to be Drebin's son. That has since changed, and you'll never believe who's on tap to be in the lead.
Let me guess, The Rock?
Close. Liam Neeson.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did hear about that, actually.
It seems it gained some steam like every couple months.
I bet his
it
kids
dies
go
for
missing.
a while and then comes back, and now it's back with talks. So
His kids or his
don't
wife
know.
get kidnapped.
Yeah, you know, there's going to be a scene in that movie that's going to have him doing those lines all over again.
And
It's like
just
the
leave it
inevitable.
alone, man. God, leave it alone. Those movies were so good. God, leave it alone.
I have one skill. I play the same character in every movie.
It's just.
I will kill you, and I will fight you.
Oh
But
God.
first, you must sit through all three of these Taken films.
In our WTF news for the week, Edward Norton has discovered that the real-life Pocahontas is his 12th great-grandmother. I'm not kidding.
Okay, that's random as balls, but okay, all right.
yeah.
I'm trying to process what you just like.
How
Okay,
is this shit news?
I don't know.
No,
That's our
that's-
WTF section.
that's pretty interesting. I think Edward Norton's just trying to. I don't know. He's
Yeah,
like, what if I go back in my history? Somebody with more interesting than myself.
It's like
He's a very boring person, great actor, but I hate watching him in interviews. He makes me want to go to sleep. He reminds me of a biology teacher I had. God.
But that's it. I'll just end it there. Let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the flavor.
Yeah.
Time for some dick.
Time for some dick. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I
Spotted Dick.
remember vividly going to see this movie when I was a kid.
Me too.
I even remember, and for our younger viewers, you're not going to believe this, but once upon a time, McDonald's used to sell scratchers. And what was the Dick Tracy? There was merchandise. Like, they sold this shit like Star Wars.
I think they got in trouble for that because a lot of people got upset about the little scratch offs because they felt like it was promoting gambling. Yeah, for kids.
That might have been one of the last ones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they did it for long after that. That might have even been the last one they ever did.
Not sure, but yeah, they got heat for that.
I had all the action figures but one, the blank. I could never find. I think it's worth a
Never
fortune
found the
now,
blank.
if you can find it.
Worth thousands.
I had the little wristwatch that lit up.
So did I.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was all about it. It was so fucked up. Like, I remember turning into a kid exactly at the moment when I saw the commercial a few years back, long time ago, I guess now, when they came out with the cell phone watch things. I'm going,
Yep.
the only thing I thought of was Dick Tracy. Yeah.
Still that.
Because I had the walkie-talkie
Mhm.
that you could talk to your buddies on.
Yeah.
It broke within like 2 weeks of having it.
And my mom, God love her, sewed me a yellow trench coat to wear. Because you'd be surprised how hard it is to find a yellow fedora and a yellow trench coat like that.
I can imagine.
And a legendary cast and crew worked on this movie. I think the cinematographer won a couple Oscars. I think he did Apocalypse Now. He was an Italian gentleman. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. But this movie was on tap to be made, I think, back in the 70s.
Yeah. They had talked about it right after Superman did well. All the studios started buying up the rights to comic book movies. Even back then, it's weird now because so many studios have bought up comic book movies left and right. But like back then, Superman came out and it was hot. So they started coming up with ideas. And back then, it wasn't like, oh, let's buy up the Avengers and all that other stuff. They were looking at like bigger names. And of course, Dick Tracy, while to younger people, it doesn't seem like it's been around that long. It's been around since the 30s because it was a comic strip originally written and made by Chester Gould. So it's been around a very long time.
And they ran a short cartoon series at some point too. I actually had those. Yeah, I had them on VHS. They brought them out after the movie came out.
Yeah, my dad used to. I remember what he was doing I don't remember what kind of job he was doing, but he was always getting these VHSs. And every Saturday morning when he'd come home after being gone for the weekend, I would have like a new VHS full of like old cartoons, and Dick Tracy was like on like 3 or 4 of them. Like I fucking loved them, man. They were great, and I saw them before they re-released them. It was like those old fucking VHSs and shit.
Very, very popular over the years. Oddly enough, you don't see it as much now because Warren Beatty has the rights to Dick Tracy, and he hasn't done anything with it at all, and he won't let anybody else do anything with it. So it's kind of taken a back seat, and
it's a shame.
It is. It really is.
I mean, imagine what they could do with it now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, as far as the visuals go, imagine what they could do.
I mean, the characters and stuff. Oh yeah, I mean, they wouldn't be the same. It would be
all CGI stuff. This was actually right before CGI started. This is one of the last. It might be the last film that they ever did where it was like painted backgrounds and everything like that. Where, if you look at it, the camera doesn't move. It's a still shot because the background is actually a piece of art. It's been painted. It's not a set or dressing or anything like that. It's artwork. And
but they wanted to go for that for the movie anyway. They kind of look old school.
Yeah, to make it look.
But yeah, I see what you're saying. Though. Yeah,
such amazing cinematography in this film. Oh my gosh.
And the visuals are great. And I mean, they really are. The color patterns, everything.
The art direction, the costumes, the makeup, freaking everything, and the cast. Holy shit! I can't think of another movie that had such a legendary cast of characters. Everybody that was hot at that time was in this movie. Warren Beatty, Al Pacino, Madonna, who took a huge pay cut to be in this movie. I think she only walked away with like 35 grand or something.
35, yep.
Yeah.
I had a huge crush on Madonna because of this movie when I was a kid.
Oh, back then. Oh my God, yes. She was in her prime.
You seen her now? You see, she's got fucking
crazy now.
She's got grills and shit now. Much different of a person than she was back in those days. Now she's just fucking crazy.
But this film is probably, I would say this is the best Madonna's ever looked. I mean, she's always been attractive woman, don't get me wrong, but just the look of her with, the dresses and everything like that, the hair, curly, blonde, just the whole look, very classy, sophisticated type, old school look. And
her acting was perfect in this too. I mean, you've always believed her to be that Marilyn Monroe type.
Yeah, for sure.
And this one, she plays a very darker version of Marilyn Monroe, in a way.
Maybe. It might actually be very close to what Marilyn Monroe was like.
I mean, that's gonna be like a conspiracy theory show. Ridiculous, but yeah.
And of course, everybody's favorite, Flat Top.
He's my favorite.
Yep.
That's for sure.
I mean,
oh my gosh, he steals the show in my opinion.
Yes, he does.
He's just so evil looking. You realize just how Forsyth looks.
Yeah, like you look at the makeup and this, like what could have been like just a goofy character, and he makes him fucking intimidating, scary, badass.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you even do that?
And it comes off so good because it's like you look at Big Boy and Al Pacino and his look, and it's kind of a little bit goofy, but Forsyth has that right-hand man, gangster, badass look, and you're like, that's the guy. Like Big Boy's the boss, but if you fuck with Big Boy, you're gonna have to deal with Flat Top.
Flat Top puts him in the mosh.
Yeah.
Richard's here. Oh, good question. I'm actually glad you brought that up. We struggled for, I think, almost all week to figure out what we wanted our first show of the New Year's to be.
Yeah.
And I think it was Mike just blurted out Dick Tracy, and all of us. Was it you, Chuck?
I thought it was me.
It was somebody.
Wasn't it me?
I don't know how it came up.
Mike. I don't know.
I
know it was one of us.
We were like, what the fuck? Who even came up with this shit?
Yeah,
somebody might have said it or whatever, but I was like, we should do that.
Somebody said Dick Tracy, and everybody just lit up. We were like, man, for sure.
And Richard, you couldn't have picked a better show to be on, Richard.
Right.
Another dick.
Yeah.
Richard's been MIA for the last few weeks.
That's all right.
Well, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
And the soundtrack, again, a legendary composer, Danny Elfman, worked on this right off the heels of Batman, too.
Uh-huh.
And what's he said? I or Dick?
All righty.
I or Dick.
Everybody came together for this movie. It's just unbelievable.
Danny Elfman, I would say he's one of the best composers of all time. Fucking John Williams is the shit, but I mean Danny Elfman is so much good stuff, man. I can't put over Danny Elfman enough. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because I had the score for Batman because it was just so good. I mean, the score of the movie, not the songs, the music that was in the movie is so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, he had a knack for doing scores like that because John Williams mostly did like the overtures and stuff.
Sure.
Which was great too. I mean, Superman, Star Wars. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Indiana Jones. But Elfman just had a knack for producing the music that flow. It was like another character in the movie.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Such a
this was one of my favorite movies growing up. I think the reason why I took to this movie so much was because of Batman, maybe because I really got into like the time period, like the Batman kind of, you know what I mean, like kind of like came off as, you know.
Batman hits in '89, and then boom, Dick Tracy in '90 comes right out, and I think for us, all of us, I don't know. You go online, you see the reviews, and they're mixed, and there's a lot of negative reviews. Even whenever it came out in '90, a lot of people hated on it, And I think for us, it was like right around that time period. Because like for me, I was 9, and I don't know how old you guys were at the time. I know Dave was around 9 or 10, and it was like that perfect time for a kid, because this you got your Batman '89. It's a good flick and all that, and it's the comic book type film, but it's got that Tim Burton darker feel to it, a little bit more edgy. And then you have Dick Tracy come out, and it feels like more of a kid type film. So it's like we're at that age where back then we could still appreciate it. So if we would have been like maybe 15 or 16 whenever Dick Tracy first came out, I feel like we might have been like kind of hating on it a little bit more, just because it was like, we like Batman, we like the edgier shit, whatever. But we were still young enough to appreciate this a lot more, I think. And that's why we all kind of like love it, because it's like, hell yeah, because we felt that way whenever we first saw it when we were kids.
I was really curious about rewatching this movie, and when we said we were going to do it, I was kind of immediately like, I am so excited about watching this movie. Like, I went right off and watched it like after we were talking. Yeah. And I was kind of scared, because not every time, but there are times in my life where I've gone back and watched movies that as a child kind of like, formed my childhood in cinema,
Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah, we were just talking about this.
Yeah. I after rewatching it again and really thinking about some of the things, I'm like, oh, whatever. If you want to like know more about that, go back to the last one. Shit, you threw me off.
You're saying how you were scared.
Oh yeah. So because I've watched movies before that have really fucked my childhood up. Because I'm just like they're not really that good. Blah blah. I put this one on, dude. I had as much fun as I did now as I did as a kid, and probably more because I understood some of the more of the shit that was going on.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a fun fucking movie. Like, I can't wait to show my kid this. He's gonna fucking love it. Like, there's a guy with a head this fucking fat and a fucking face this small. He's gonna think it's the greatest thing in the world. Like, I mean, come on. I'm a character guy. Yep. Give me weird, fucked up characters. Yep. I think that's why I surround myself with the people that I surround myself with. Everybody has to be a character. If you're not your own person, like if I don't see you as your own thing, stay the fuck away from me, because you're just like everybody else. We're all fucking freaks. We're all fucking assholes, and there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? And I love the characters in this film. Always have. And rewatching it, I was just like, God, the characters are just so. They're so fucked up. They're so weird. Like, and it's just a normal thing. Yep. Again, a guy has a head this fat and a face this small, and nobody seems to notice.
And his name's Littleface.
Littleface. That's yeah. And I remember it was the first time I ever gagged at a fucking movie. It was when fucking Lips, whatever his fucking mouth, whatever.
Lips Manless.
Oh yeah. When he's eating the fucking oysters, I remember as a kid gagging at that. Yeah. And I remember agreeing with Madonna then, and then when rewatching it, I still agree with her because it made me go, ugh. It's the reason why I won't go to certain places to eat in public, because I know there's a certain type of people who don't know how to eat in public. It's horrible.
It's really the perfect formula in this film, where you've got an amazing cast and amazing characters that were written by Chester Gould, and the combination just makes them so good as characters overall, where you're like, oh my gosh, you don't sit there and say, oh, that's just Al Pacino wearing some goofy makeup. You get into it, where you're like, this is the character and everything like that, and it just pays off so good.
Yeah, they said they were in makeup for 3 to 4 hours every fucking day.
Yeah,
just getting their faces put on, and then they actually the studio actually had MPs there, so they could follow them all around whenever they went to go fucking eat and shit, so they didn't fuck up the makeup.
Well, the original agreement that Beatty had with the studio, they were saying that he couldn't go over the $25 million budget, and of course,
they went way over.
It ended up being a $47 million budget.
Yeah,
and then on top of that, they ended up spending another $50 million just to promote the film. So they actually spent more on advertising than they did on making the film. But I mean, it grossed over 160 million, so it's still a blockbuster, one of the top 10s of 1990.
It worked. And I remember they actually showed a Roger Rabbit cartoon before the movie.
Yeah, Roller Coaster Roger Rabbit.
Was that what it was? Yeah, I actually remember that.
That's what I even said when we were watching the DVD. I was like, I wonder if this Roger Rabbit cartoon is going to be on there.
I was trying to find my VHS so I could read the back of it, but I don't have the time for this. I should have done this earlier.
All right.
I know it's in there somewhere. But for those that don't really know, Dick Tracy is a detective who is on the case of a bunch of weird fuckers that work for Big Boy. Another weird fucker. And there's a whole bunch of weird fuckers going. Like, I don't know.
It's film noir, there's action, there's conspiracy. I mean, my God.
Everything.
If you want to know who Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr. wrote it. If those names sound familiar, they also did like Top Gun,
Yep,
a bunch of stuff, and they were on task to write the script for a while. I mean, this movie went, probably 15 or so years before it finally got made.
Yeah, like I was saying before, how right after Superman, the first Superman film came out, they kind of optioned this. I think Paramount ended up getting the rights, and they had planned to have John Landis direct, and then that crazy shit happened on Twilight Zone, where Vic Morrow and those kids got killed, and Landis he was out after that. So they got a couple more people in, and they tried to get it off the ground, and they just couldn't get it going. They were going to make it like a real like gangster film there for a while. Like it was going to be kind of a hard, edgy film, and they decided against that. There's all kinds of incantations. They talked about doing a fucking musical of Dick Tracy, and it was going to it was going to have Sonny Bono as Dick Tracy and Cher as Tess Truman.
I think Mike's getting a Bono just talking about it. Sorry. I just
not that. Not that fucking musical. If they would have made that musical, it would. Oh my!
I'm just kidding. Shit.
That would have been garbage.
It would have been pure shit. So,
but I think Jim and Jack were attached to write like way back when John Landis was still.
They even talked to Scorsese about doing it, but then he said, "Fuck it, I'm going to go do Goodfellas instead."
He went and did Goodfellas.
I think
it wasn't that thing.
It was in Spielberg's lap at one point too.
I think it was in everybody's lap. Fucking Burton. They asked Burton to do it, and he said, "I'm getting ready to do Edward Scissorhands."
I think Spielberg had a hold of it for a minute. I think he was before John Landis, actually.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, they gave up the rights to it, and I think it went back to TriStar or some company that originally had it. And Warren Beatty optioned it and said, "You know what? I'll take the rights. Screw you guys," and told the studio, "Hey, I'll direct it, I'll produce it, and I'll star in it."
He was pretty much like a perfect Dick Tracy, though.
Yeah,
kind of like Christopher Reeve was a Superman. Yeah, like you look at Christopher Reeve, you're like, that guy looks like Superman. Warren Beatty looks like Dick Tracy. Like he just it was kind of perfect for the role.
Because they did a few like series back in like the 50s and 60s with like Richard Byrd or whatever.
Yeah,
but yeah, this shit here it popped off.
I remember this was my first real exposure to. I don't think I ever seen Warren Beatty and anything else when I was that age.
This is his highest grossest film ever. So
all I remember him from was from this movie and then from Bulworth. Like I couldn't tell you what the fuck he did after. Like
I remember seeing Bonnie and Clyde when I was like younger, but I can't remember how old I was when I saw it. But like I remember him as an actor even before like seeing Dick Tracy. But like I also came from a household where like American movie classics was like a thing. Back when it was American, the old shit. So I know about a lot of different actors and show like that from like the olden days.
It's funny you mentioned Bonnie and Clyde. I remember whenever I went out to LA one time, I took a tour of Warner Brothers Studios, and they told a story about Warren Beatty working there and how he got into an argument with Jack Warner over Bonnie and Clyde. And they were sitting in his office, and Jack Warner is like, he sees this young Warren Beatty, talking shit to him, and he's like, he points out the window. And if you've ever seen a Warner Brothers film, you've seen the iconic water tower with the Warner Brothers logo on and everything like that. So he points out the window and says to Warren Beatty, whose name is on that fucking tower? And Warren Beatty looks out and he goes, I don't know, but those are my initials. I thought that was a really good, really funny story.
You mentioned Bullworth.
Oh gosh,
I still love that goddamn song though. Just because of ODB's part in it. Great.
Right.
And
Anyway.
the songs, the actual soundtrack, all the Madonna songs, oh, so good. Back in business.
Oh, dude.
I love that song.
I love that
Let
shit.
those good times roll.
Because I used to have. I remember when I was a kid, I had the soundtrack.
Mhm.
I was thinking about it. I was like, did I had the score? I had the soundtrack of it, which I think had parts of the score in it.
Mhm.
But I remember as a kid, I remember the cover of it was just the Dick Tracy like face, the shadows there in the corner. The shit fucking catchy.
Mhm.
Really captures that time period, like the music and stuff.
Yep.
And I'm also a sucker for like that kind of jazz kind of.
Yeah, so good. So good. I have yet to hear a good argument as to why there was any hate for this movie at all. The only argument I could not, I guess, understand is that Dick Tracy was too straight-laced. He didn't have any flaws. But gosh, do we really need every hero to have flaws?
He did make out with Breathless, and you can't say he didn't engage because he did wrap his arms around her.
Well, that's true too, right?
So he had his. I mean, like any good white American male might have, there's temptation.
Mhm.
Yeah, but is he? You go back. Is he working her? Is he trying to kind of work her and get?
I mean,
info?
he was so straight laced that he could have been doing that and not cared if Tess knew.
He was always undercover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was one of those things where, like, is he really into this chick, or does he know this is his in?
Of course, he was really into that chick.
I mean, yeah, but I mean,
Of course he was. Of course he was.
Who's working who?
Who wasn't in that chick? Oh, wait, never mind.
I never came when I saw this fucking movie, and I was like, I want to work her. Like, I mean, come on, let's be honest.
Right. And Disney actually wouldn't put their logo at the beginning of the movie either. They went with the old school black and white Touchstone Pictures logo, which I thought looked cooler, actually. Because it was too adult for Disney at the time, which is laughable now. But
yeah,
back then, I mean, they were releasing like The Little Mermaid and stuff like that.
Disney's ran by perverts. They're
Yeah.
preverts. They're
Just
all
because-
preverts.
just because they're having shootouts with Tommy guns and characters are using double entendres. 30 seconds, no more dick. All that stuff.
30,
You know,
yeah.
it's like- that was another thing that was so cool when you were a kid because you could just be saying dick all the time and be able to get away with it. So it's like,
Dude, when I was a kid, when I rewatched this, a part of my childhood came back because when I was a kid, I remember constantly saying 30 seconds, no more dick, 30
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
And I always get in trouble for it, and I never understood why. Now I know.
It's
oh,
whenever
shit.
whenever Big Boy has them and they're like having that little meeting or whatever, like towards the end, he's just like, "Don't be a dick."
You dumb dick.
you dumb dick. You just said goodbye to shit.
I remember kids in my 5th grade class used to call him Dickhead Tracy.
I can't remember if I had any friends when I was a kid when it came out that liked it too. I don't know. I might have been like one of the weird. I've always been one of the weird ones in my friend circle, like down to everything.
Your
Dick
friends
Tracy.
push you down a manhole.
Huh?
Didn't your friends
What?
push you down like a sewer system or something?
They were my friends. They were the bullies that I
Oh.
chose to hang out with. Yeah, I got pushed into a fucking sewer. Yeah. But it's terrifying to think about it now.
This fucking guy.
And Richard said he rewatched Nightbreed and it didn't hold up.
What? What were you saying about Nightbreed? Huh?
Richard said he rewatched Nightbreed and it didn't hold up.
First off, where does Nightbreed come in this conversation?
I don't know.
It was
Two-
back whenever you were
two-
talking about.
This was
Oh,
a long.
right,
This was a
right.
while ago. This was like
Oh.
12 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was whenever you were
Okay.
talking about like watching old movies and then like you
Mm.
kind
Hold
of
up.
killed your memory about everything.
Okay, yeah, okay, all right.
All right, Dick.
Hey,
Telephone
yo,
tough
you know
guy,
what I'm
huh?
saying? Like, I'm just gonna take you down, because we just one thing after another. No, okay, all right. I get, and actually, Nightbreed. I mean, I've got probably one of the worst characters tattooed on me. And the more I think of it, I'm like, oh god, I've got Dr. Decker tattooed on me, which is a horrible fucking like character. Like he's an asshole on so many levels. I love the Nightbreed movies, or the Nightbreed movie, but there are aspects of it as I got older that I watch. I'm like, that's not as cool now, but I do love that fucking movie. We ain't fighting. We cool.
If you would have got Decker,
don't be a dick. What?
If you would have got Decker tattooed on like the side of your head, you could have been a Decker head.
Where's the guy with the cane? We did a. I'm just kidding.
Oh, and he's in it too, slacker.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
What?
Full circle.
Yeah. See how we did that?
No. What are we talking about?
The dude from Back to the Future that calls him a slacker.
Principal.
The principal.
Oh yeah.
Strickland, Mr. Strickland.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I always thought it was interesting Dick Van Dyke was in this. And as a kid, I was like,
Dick Van Dyke.
well, I remember I also thinking it was weird that he like had a cigarette, but you never really saw him smoking it because he was never really a smoker. But like as a kid, like I remember watching fucking Dick Van Dyke show on Nick at Night, and then seeing this fucking movie like Dick Van Dyke because my dad was the one who told me it was Dick Van Dyke. He was like, "Oh, it's Dick Van Dyke." I was like, "He's smoking a cigarette. Dick Van Dyke doesn't smoke cigarettes." I was so hurt by that.
James Tolkien is the actor.
Oh, James Tolkien and James Caan was also in it. God,
Dustin Hoffman.
Everybody. He had a really great part too, Dustin.
Every scene he's in just fucking kills me.
Even
so good.
Mandy Patinkin. Oh my gosh, 88 Keys. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude, you go back and watch Mandy Patinkin as 88 Keys, and you have no clue that it's him. Like every time
I forgot it was him too, and I rewatched it.
Oh my gosh, that's like every time you see him, he reinvents himself. Because it's like my first introduction was Princess Bride, fucking Inigo Montoya, and then it's like you go and you probably the second thing I saw him in was Dick Tracy, and I had no clue, until later on. That's the same actor. Fucking so good. So many good actors. Holy shit.
I mean,
Paul Sorvino. Paul Sorvino is Lips Manless. Fucking
yeah. God, gross.
Even Kathy Bates and Catherine O'Hara are in this. They're very bit parts, but they're in there.
Yep.
And oh my god,
even big stars had just these little parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's so.
Who else
good.
did we say we saw that was one of the cops?
Influence. Who played him?
Henry
No,
Stiller.
I forget. Was that who it was? Okay. I thought that was William Sadler at first. The very first time he came in when he was dressed as a cop, I thought that was him, but it wasn't.
One of the other cops, but no big deal. Don't worry about
Like the real cops?
Yeah.
Who was I talking about?
What's going on? Who are we?
We don't.
What's going on? What movie are we talking about? I don't know. I'm so confused.
Seymour Castle?
Two more butts.
Who are you talking about, Chad?
I don't remember. I have to look at it
Pull
again.
his hair
and I'll figure it
out,
out.
folks.
We just saw him in a movie not too long ago when he was in that movie, and we were like, "Oh fuck, that guy."
What's that great line Big Boy has at the end? Like, I'm having a thought. It's coming.
Yeah,
I lost.
It's gone.
it's gone.
It's got to be one of my favorite Al Pacino characters. So he's just so good. I mean, like it's. I'm a villain guy. I like movies like with good villains. I think this movie is chock full of them. But the big boy Al Pacino like that, yeah. I watched it. I just couldn't wait for every time he was on the screen because he was fucking hilarious.
Man, one of the things that stands out to me, whenever we were young, we couldn't appreciate this, but going back and being older, you get a greater appreciation where they're having the boardroom scene, right? And at one end of the table, you got Al Pacino as Big Boy, and at the other end of the table, you've got James Caan as Spud Spaldoni. And I remember when I was a kid watching it, and you have all the other characters. You got Influence, you got Prune Face, you got all the other cool looking characters from the film in there. And I kept thinking to myself when I was a kid, like, why is this jerk off at the end of the table? Like, he's just a regular guy. Like, it didn't mean anything to me because I'm 9 years old. I don't know anything about James Caan or The Godfather or anything like that. But going back as older, and you think, holy shit, you got Al Pacino, Michael Corleone, on one end of the table, and you got James Caan's Sonny Corleone at the end of the table. It's a nice little Easter egg for people, now that I can appreciate both films. Obviously I hadn't seen Godfather when I was 9, but going back and seeing that, you're like, oh yeah, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's like, how did they even pull that off?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just
wait, real quick. What's the best Godfather movie?
One.
First one.
Yeah.
Really? 2? Nobody's 2?
I mean, 2 solid. I'm not going to hate on 2.
2's the best.
Yeah, usually, I mean, I like both of them, the first 2, but then the third one I just never usually
The
watch.
third one is so fucking boring.
You can't go with the third one. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with 2. Yeah.
2's my favorite. It's more, I don't know. Whatever. I thought you were going to my side. That's fine. We're allowed to be different.
I knew it was you, Fredo.
I can't watch one without watching 2 anyway. So, I mean, it's kind of like Kill Bill. It's like Kill Bill. I got to watch them together. It's like, there's 7 hours in my fucking day.
It's like Hellraiser 1 and 2. That's how I am with it.
We definitely could do those movies one night.
Oh, I'm all about doing some Godfather movies.
We haven't done the Godfather movies yet.
Or just mafia movies in general, like Goodfellas and Casino and shit.
I think Godfather deserves its own episode.
God,
we
we'll
could do like a 4-hour Scorsese fucking.
Oh yeah, we could do that too. Actually.
Yep.
Anyway.
But no, and my favorite part of the movie is the gunfight at the end.
Oh my gosh!
I think I still got goosebumps just watching it like an hour ago. I still got amped up for the gunfight at the end. So good. Lots of more explosions than what I remember, actually.
Dude, oh my gosh. Fucking all this episode, if you're tuning in right now, all this episode is us fucking sucking dick Tracy. Because this is such a good film to us. So if you hated this shit, fuck you. But oh my gosh. The shootout, or any scene where they're shooting the Tommy guns, the sound effect for the Tommy guns sounds so fucking raw. It sounds so good. You feel it. Where it's like,
I know what you're saying.
And oh my gosh, it makes it so much better.
You're talking about the Tommy guns. When I was a kid, one thing I got a kick out of when I was in first grade, we took a trip to Washington D.C. and it was like a summer whole thing. 2 busfuls of kids and their parents. It's terrifying. I swear to God. But one thing we did was we went to some FBI place or whatever, and they took us all down to where they shoot guns and stuff. And they had a Tommy gun, and they were like they had somebody like on the other side. But we were all sitting there in these seats, and they were like demonstrating these guns. And they had an old school Tommy gun. I remember looking at my mom going like the one Dick Tracy. Like I was so excited about it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a Tommy gun in real life.
The first time I went out to Vegas, they have gun ranges out there where they have all kinds of different guns you can rent and shoot. And that was the first one I grabbed hold of.
Right. I'd love to shoot a Tommy gun.
I got a video of it somewhere. I'll have to show you. But I got it. I got the gun, and they show you. And they're like, okay, you're just firing off a few rounds or whatever. And then he gives me a new clip, and he was like, if you just want to fire it off, go right ahead. And it was just like,
oh fuck yeah,
like fucking flat top, and it was the fucking coolest shit ever. So if you ever go out to Vegas, you got to try that. They got all kinds of shit too. You can like rent a tank out in Vegas and just like destroy a car for like $3,000 or some crazy shit. But
I think Lemmy did that.
Yeah.
On the Lemmy documentary.
But yeah,
for our Lord and Savior, Lemmy Kilmister.
If you've never fired a Tommy gun, that's one thing you have to experience in your life because the power is awesome.
I just added that to my bucket list.
There you go.
Just now. But no, everybody but Big Boy gets killed off in that big shootout.
Mm-hmm.
But Flat Top hung in there though.
Mm-hmm.
He went out in a blaze of glory.
I wanted him to kill Dick. I was like, if anybody's gonna kill Dick Tracy, it's gonna be Flat Top. Or at least
everybody's listening to this. Michael just likes saying Dick. What?
Like,
Dude. It's one big excuse to the word dick. And as a kid, we used it for the same.
Well, now we're grown up. We don't have to make up excuses. We just be like dick.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying bad. I just think it's funny that like as a kid it was like you talked about Dick Tracy or it's like Van Damme, like you covered him as a cuss word or some shit.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
But I thought like at least Flat Top would get like a shot in, like hit him in the shoulder or something, like not kill him maybe, but just wound him. It's something, a flesh wound. Give us something, Beatty, you fuck. But no, he fucking Tommy gun shootout, and he comes out unscathed. Whatever.
I always thought I thought it was weird how they're just like shooting up these fucking cars, and they don't know if fucking Tess is in one of them.
Yeah. I think that's part of the hate is a lot of the plot things don't make sense. Like whenever Big Boys got Tess locked up, there's a
fucking vault door with an empty room and a chair.
Yeah, what kind of vault has a skylight? Like, all right, whatever. So it's silly stuff like that people hate on. But when you're a kid, you're just like,
Yeah,
you're right. It's a movie. I mean,
all the stuff we were nitpicking at, I never noticed.
It's just dumb shit too.
I never picked up on, and there was nothing in the vault. It'd be like it's like the super secret room. What do you got back there?
A skylight and a chair.
Yeah, nothing.
And then he jumps down in there and he's like, I gotta find a way out of here.
Yeah. and then that other cop goes in there and I'm like, did they pull him out of there? Is he still there?
And he makes that little fucking
seesaw. I wish we had video clips to play. I wish we were able to play some video clips.
Yeah. Well, that shit was funny. He makes that little fucking like seesaw shit and he's like, jump down. And he fucking jumps down and he goes shooting back up.
Yeah. Not how it works, but
I think it's funny. Also,
well, in the beginning too, whenever he jumps off the roof onto that fucking light pole, he said he really smacked his fucking face off of it.
You could tell too. You know why? Because he really smacked his face off.
He really did.
Like, it looked brutal.
Somebody said they interviewed him like years later and said, "Did you feel bad whenever that stunt guy jumped off and injured himself on the light pole?" He goes, "That was me."
Like, I'm surprised blood.
You can see his head snap back real quick whenever he jumps on that thing.
Like he broke his fucking nose.
Yeah, he smacked that shit hard.
As a kid, was anybody else really kind of like, I don't know, dumbfounded when you realized who the fucking blank was?
The right audio apps for you. Which one do you want to use to listen to this?
What? We have a special guest.
Siri's with us.
Dave, someone was trying to reach Dave's dick. Wait.
Did Megan somehow get into this fucking chat?
That's creepy. Let's not go there.
Nobody dancing over here.
But my mom called that shit in the theater. She said it was her the whole time.
Really? See, because I saw the drive-in and shit. And as a kid, like when I first started watching, I was like, man, this blank character is awesome. This is badass. And then we get to the end of it, like I'm like, oh. Why did I not see that it was her the whole time? But wow, it's her? Yep. Really? Like, it kind of blew me away as a kid. I was just like, I'm kind of shocked. Because I think the blank kid was great.
She sounded like Cobra Commander.
Well, I was getting ready to say, did you notice that voice effect was the same one they used for Princess Leia in Return of the Jedi whenever she was the bounty hunter? When she goes to Jabba's palace? And it's like, that's
familiar.
Give us letter to Big Boy Capri.
Yeah.
Like, you did pretty good.
I don't think I can do it right
now. Okay, he was doing it pretty good. He was doing the blank voice pretty good earlier.
But
that's like
now
satanic black metal.
Now that we're on the blank, okay. So you were talking about earlier, Dave, how you couldn't find the blank figure, and it was because it got pulled. They released the figures beforehand, and then they realized that if they released the blank figure, it was going to reveal the ending of the film. So they didn't want to. Makes sense. So they didn't want to put it out there because it was going to reveal the ending. So what they ended up doing is they held it back, and it only got a limited release up in Canada. So that's why you don't find it around here, and that's why it's worth so much money now.
Well,
that does make a lot of sense, though.
Yep.
Because every week in the toy store we get a new shipment, and then we get a different figure every week. And every week I went up there, I could never find the blank. Well, that's why. I learned something tonight.
You had to drive up to Canada.
Hey, did anybody ever actually use the insult "go suck an egg" when watching this movie? Anybody?
No.
I did multiple times, and one was to my mother, and one was to a bully, and I got my ass kicked both times.
Because they're like, what kind of insult is this?
Yeah, like go suck an egg. And then I'm punched in the face.
Since I don't know what that means, I'm going to punch you in the face. I'm going to take it as an insult.
Of course, they could. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the bully punched me in the fucking face because I'm just fucking stupid. And my mom used to do this, like, Vulcan grip, like, on the back of me and my sister's necks. And it just, like grabbing by the ear never did shit. But, like, the back of the neck, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That shit fucking hurt. Like, you couldn't, like, your toes would leave the floor. It was horrible. But, yeah.
A completely missed opportunity for the kid to be like, go suck a dick, Tracy.
Missed opportunity for that little thing that they like to do at that time was like the slip in things, you know. They already were like, don't be a dick. 30 seconds, no more dick. Like they probably thought about it and they probably like, well, we've already kind of slipped it in a little too much. As a little bit more.
They pushed it up to the line.
Yeah.
slip it in. What? You're gonna slip in?
Slip it in. A very good Black Flag album. Slip it in.
Charlie Korsmo as the kid.
Is this Pistachio?
Yeah, what else did he play in?
Hook.
Yep.
That's what I was trying to fucking think of. Yeah,
Bangarang.
With Dustin Hoffman.
Bangarang, Rufio. With Dustin Hoffman, oddly enough. Yeah.
I don't know what else though. Did he do anything with like? Has he done anything recently? I honestly don't know.
He was in. He wasn't he the kid in Bob?
Yeah.
He was
yeah.
And
anything recently?
No, I
I
don't
think
think
that's
so.
about it.
It's probably a lawyer or a garbage man at this point, I'd say.
Well,
Good
so
for him.
I could be wrong.
This movie's like this whole franchise actually is closely guarded by Warren Beatty, but you said something about a sequel was.
Yeah, like they said up until like I think 2016 he was still talking about doing a sequel, but they're like now that he's 83, like I don't see that.
Yeah.
No,
They
what it was.
They could have made the Dick Tracy.
He did that short or whatever in 2006 or something.
Well, what it was he was going to lose the rights to Dick Tracy because he hadn't done anything with it. Because I guess if you have a property that you have to keep it current, and by him saying that he's going to do a sequel and doing these things like that, that allows him to retain the rights to Dick Tracy. So I think in 2011 he did like an interview where he dressed up as Dick Tracy and was talking about the film, like a little retrospective or whatever. And that was merely just so he could retain the rights to the film. And he doesn't want anybody to touch it, really, which is sad because there's so much you could do. You know, even a re-release. Like he said somewhere that there's like a rough or unedited cut, a director's cut or whatever, where it's an extra like 30 or 45 minutes of footage because they had to trim it down. I think originally it was like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that, and he had to trim it down to 1 hour 45. So there's that footage. Like you could take that, make a steel book, make whatever, you know, some kind of special edition, which would be dope as hell, I think. But
Dave was just telling me today that Stallone.
I'd be okay if Dick Tracy was a little longer because that's one thing that I did thinking about it. Like I was like, man, this movie it goes so quick.
So what
I'm saying is, I think the dick should be a little longer. Ha ha! I got to. You fucking did it.
We're gonna do this the whole time.
No, but Dave was telling me today that Stallone edited Rocky IV, and he like actually just released another set with the re-edited edition. We were watching some like thing on him one day where he was just re-editing Rocky IV, and it was just like the whole fucking movie was changed.
Chuck, what would it sound like if Sylvester Stallone
Robert Rodriguez
was in the cutting room editing Rocky IV? What would it sound like?
What?
What would it sound like? He's in the editing room, editing Rocky IV. What's it sound like? I just want to be a fly on the wall.
It's not enough for me. You guys take that there with all you got. That wouldn't work. I don't like that word at all. Like, it's not good at all. Just taking that blonde guy over there. You know, more me. or me. Just do it. Just fucking do it. Like you gotta fucking argue.
Go for it.
Well, there you go.
Just go for it.
You get the insider insight right there. But okay,
and
so
Richard said that would be Robert Rodriguez, and yeah, I could see that. Actually,
another thing that had been talked
Sin
about.
City's a good one we should talk about sometime too. That's a damn good movie.
Yeah, put that on the slate for sure.
We'll put that on the list.
Another thing that was talked about for years was doing a TV series, Tracy, starring none other than Bruce Campbell.
I would have loved that.
Yeah, you hadn't heard about this?
I read that. I read that shit too.
It's in his book. You got his fucking book there, Chad.
Yeah.
He talks about it. He was
Chins
like
to Kill.
I think it's that one.
I don't think it was that one. He's got like 4 of them.
What is
I've
it?
only read one of them.
What is it one called? Confessions of a B-movie actor or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is that one. But Bruce Campbell's a big Dick Tracy fan, and he's got the look, he's got the chin, he's got everything. Like, because they wanted Beatty. Because if you go back and look at the comics and the comic strip and everything like that, the Dick Tracy character has this specific chin. That's kind of
he looked a lot like Batman from the animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had talked about doing that for the film where we'll put on a prosthetic and alter Warren Beatty's chin to make it more like the comic strip. And they ultimately decided not to do that because they're like, well, this is one of the biggest, names in Hollywood. Why do we want to cover up his face with prosthetics or whatever? So they went against that.
Actually.
And now going back to Richard's comment earlier about Nightbreed, now I'm seeing, okay, if it would have done that, it would have been Warren Beatty with like the moon guy's fucking chin. Like that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That would have been horrible.
Mac Tonight. Good old Mac Tonight.
Oh yeah, this was back in the Mac Tonight days, actually.
Huh?
But God, I could see that. Like I could see Bruce Campbell, like 1990 Bruce Campbell playing
I could
this
see
part.
that.
It'd be like him in like Escape from L.A.
Yeah. Dude, he would have nailed that shit. That series would have been amazing, I think. And especially him being such a big fan of Dick Tracy, I think he would have knocked it out of the park.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm really curious to know about the director's cut, just to know that exists.
Thinking about it, the Sin City aspect of some things is kind of interesting. If you actually look at Dick Tracy, the way it's shot. I mean, even though Sin City's black and white and all that shit, but the way that Dick Tracy shot and some of the characters and how they are, I wouldn't be shocked if there was like influence there where it came out of those. Have we already talked about that? Because if so, I'm sorry.
No, for sure.
No.
Because you couldn't ask for a more perfect blueprint if you're going to make a movie like that.
Yeah. Again, characters, man.
Well, that's what it's all about. It's about the characters. And man, this movie had some characters.
Yeah.
Some great ones.
It was such a good movie.
I would say that
Glenn Headley is. Go ahead.
I was just saying, when it comes down to thinking about movies as a kid that still hold up today, this one goes like definitely top like 20. I mean, it's right there with like Batman, Ghostbusters, that kind of shit. Like Dick Tracy's, it's good stuff.
Yeah,
I've always enjoyed it.
Like I said, I remember like it was yesterday going to see this movie. I could tell you when all the laughs were. I could tell you, it was a packed house too.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to go see this.
I was sitting on I remember it was me and my dad and my mom, and we were at the drive-in theater in Winchester, and I remember just enjoying the fuck out of myself, just laying there on the fucking blanket, and it was great. It was awesome. It was probably actually one of the first times I realized how much I enjoyed movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. And it was the same with Batman a year before. It's like I had never seen anything like that. It was the same like the first time I saw RoboCop. First time.
Right. Yeah.
It's just you'd never seen anything like that before.
And that was the beauty of Dick Tracy because, like, I was listening to a retrospective earlier just to get caught up on things and see how other people thought about it. But when you go into Dick Tracy, there's no backstory. There's no nothing. Like, you're just in it, like straight out the gate. Like, you don't know. Like, we didn't know who Dick Tracy was as kids. We weren't old enough to know the comic strips or anything like that, or the shit from the 60s. It was just like all these brand newers were just right in front of our eyes, and we're like totally into it. And you're immersed in that whole world right out the gate. And you don't need a backstory. You don't need a prequel. You don't need any kind of story. It's like, okay, this guy's a cop. These guys are bad guys, and this is what's going on.
Right. And that's it. From that very first scene with the radio, you see his badge, his gun, and the wristwatch. That's all you need.
Very simple. Yeah.
Which a very Batman opening, very Sin City like weird shot. Like, I don't know. I never thought about it before. Yeah. A lot of similarities to those things.
And then you cut to the city with the credits, with the opening credits. And you are in that world right away.
Yeah.
And you believed everything. It's just, what are some of the negative comments about this movie? I'm just curious.
Well, like I said before, just like people hate the antics of things, like, you know, the safe room having a skylight. What up?
Who is it?
Sturdy.
Sir Sturdy's here. Check.
Oh, hell yeah.
Welcome. But yeah, just semantics, really, like how they think that stuff.
The minor cheesy shit.
It's just nitpicky stuff, then.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious too, with the director's cut. I wonder if any plot holes would be filled in with the director's cut.
Could you imagine
three Academy Awards?
Tracy?
I mean, how many there wasn't really a lot of plot holes.
I don't think so neither. I don't think so. I think it was just like the goofy stuff with like the vault.
Right.
I mean, we didn't pay attention to that. It was just this cool shot of him coming through the window like that.
He jumped out like Batman. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I was watching a clip earlier where he's spying on all the crooks over in the boardroom, and he gets on his radio and he's like, Sam, it's Tracy. Like, I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, who the fuck else would it be? Who else has a two-way watch radio just chilling in this world? It's like, of course it's you, Tracy. Who the fuck else is
the one thing I noticed is that when they framed Tracy and locked him up, it's like the entire police force shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like Dick Tracy was the only good cop. Everyone else was pretty.
He was kind of like the Dirty Harry, but not dirty. You know what I mean?
Harry.
Yeah.
Which is just. So you're trying to say Dick was dirty and hairy, or light?
He was a hairy Dick.
Dirty.
Well, no, I mean, like, because he was very like, because if you watch the Dirty Harry movies, that's another one we should talk about. But anyway, I'm a big Dirty Harry fan. Both those fucking films.
I mean, everybody, like, when he was in jail,
he was the one that, like, he was always being reprimanded. You know, he was the one that was doing shit that he should have been. Dick Tracy is what I'm talking about. I mean, like, he's very similar, just like Dirty Harry, you know, was known for being. But Dick Tracy was a little more by the book, and Dirty Harry was like, I'm gonna
totally
take
by the book.
out.
Yeah, he was like Bronson.
Yeah, Charles Bronson, gonna hurt you.
Once again,
don't move too fast. I'm gonna shoot you.
It's funny you mentioned that because
they
actually, at one point they had talked about having Clint Eastwood be the lead for Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
whenever Beatty had dipped out.
Richard Gere, I think a couple people were.
I can see. I can almost see Richard Gere, but I don't know. There wasn't really any call for gerbils. So
this was pre-gerbil.
I'm sure that went on a lot longer than just officer, gentleman, and it's gerbil. You know, whatever. That's not my joke. I stole it. I don't know who said it. Or whatever. But I mean, like
I couldn't imagine anybody else in the part though. Now
I could. No. I really could. Bruce Campbell would be. It's a fun idea.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You know, but Warren Beatty. I mean, like that's honestly, like all of us. Like, all right, I'm gonna be 39 next week. Dave, how old are you?
42.
Okay, Chad.
41.
Okay, Mike.
Why are we doing this?
42.
Okay.
Do you need my social security number as well?
Maybe later. I'm in a spot.
Mother's
No.
maiden name?
First-
no, like I did have a point.
We fucked you.
John, thanks guys, appreciate it.
He lost it.
You were just asking our ages.
Yeah, and I had a reason for that too.
Oh, did you?
What was the first car you?
Shut up. I'm not being mean here. I'm not being an asshole. I'm just saying, just give me a minute. Maybe I can think about what I was. Nope, I can't think. It's gone.
And and he always had those quotes that he was saying to people.
Oh yeah.
Where, and I don't even know if those are real quotes. I don't know if he made those up, because I think I tried to look them up, and it was just they would show the quotes from Dick Tracy, but it wouldn't show like that Abraham Lincoln had quoted, like what did he say? If you want to be for the people, you have to buy the people, or something like that. And Lincoln, and he would just have all these quotes that he would spout off to like the news reporters and whoever would listen to him. And I don't know if they were even real quotes. It sounded good.
Yeah, it did sound good. I could have seen maybe De Niro, because I think it was like a toss up between him and Pacino to play Big Boy.
Oh God,
But
no.
Al Pacino just did so good though.
But Pacino he's a little more like, I mean, he plays usually very similar characters, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got a little more of a range. I mean, I love De Niro. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, could you imagine De Niro as Big Boy? I mean, could you really? Tracy, I'm not gonna. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to do that. But you kind of making me want to do that. Like, it wouldn't be as good as the extremity of Al Pacino.
When he's thrown over the table and I want Dick Tracy dead, and he flips over the table. Only Pacino could do that.
Tracy, you talking to me? You talking to me, Tracy?
Yeah. See, that's what it would have been.
I don't see anybody else here. This show's just gonna this podcast is just gonna devolve to us doing impersonations. But yeah, the whole cast, like everybody's great. I don't think is there a weak link on this cast?
No,
the kid maybe.
Yeah,
I can't even say. I mean, that. I mean, because he did a good job. There wasn't really a bad character in this fucking movie. I don't think. Again, with the star-studded cast.
They had talked about having Macaulay Culkin as the kid, but then he signed on to do Home Alone that year.
See, it all worked out.
Yep.
I mean, not for the redhead kid, but it worked out for like Macaulay Culkin. Redhead kid's like, should have been me. Should have been me.
It's crazy.
How shit like that works out. I'm still living on it.
It's crazy how shit like that works out, because like what if Macaulay Culkin signed on to do Dick Tracy and he never did Home Alone? What if Charlie Korsmo would have been fucking Home Alone? He'd be a megastar, and Macaulay Culkin would be a drug addict. Oh wait,
been there, done that.
Not anymore. But it's
actually a really cool guy.
Glenn Headley was Tess Trueheart. It was supposed to be Sean Young.
Yeah,
it was originally supposed to be Tess Trueheart. And fucking, oh my god, that's like the.
I was like,
go ahead.
Sorry. No.
Well, I was gonna say about Sean Young. It was like back then, she was supposed to be like a megastar, and her career just like fell big time. She was the original Vicky Vale in Batman '89. Yep. She was actually the Vicky Vale. Like they were getting ready to do scenes with her, and she had they were going to do a scene where she was riding on a horse, and she fell off and broke her arm or something like that. Yeah. And she couldn't film it, and it was like very, very last minute. The only person they could get a hold of that would fly out to do Vicky Vale was Kim Basinger.
You know, when I think of Sean Young, that's her name, right? Sean Young.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but for the longest time, the I knew her from was Ace Ventura.
Einhorn is Finkel.
Yeah.
Finkel is Einhorn.
Gun is digging in my hip. Like, yeah, I don't care. I've always loved that movie. Sean Young would have been all right, but I think that the girl that played Tess, she kind of had that look. Like, she fit that style, that time period. You know? Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see it being one.
She tried to get the part of Catwoman in Batman Returns too.
Who did?
Oh my God, Sean Young.
Sean Young?
Yeah.
Oh my God, because that's what happened. Okay, so she was supposed to be Vicky Vale. She was supposed to be Vicky Vale. She didn't get the job, and then whenever the part came up for Catwoman, she was like, telling Tim Burton, I want to try out for this role. He wouldn't even see her. Like this woman was so hated behind the scenes in Hollywood because she was very vocal about things. She would everybody made her out to be like a psycho, crazy woman.
She doesn't have a good career where it comes like a good reputation when it comes down to her career in movies.
No,
that's what I've noticed as well. Yeah,
a lot of people said she was hard to work with, and she was very outspoken about things, especially back then. I think she was probably ahead of her time. If she was that way nowadays, everybody would love her. But back then, everybody thought she was a nut job, like just shut your mouth and do your job type of thing, probably. But she wanted that Catwoman part so much. She went on. I
think it was it Regis and Kathy? She
no,
went on some
it was. Fuck! Why can't I think of this?
It was one of those type shows.
Joan Rivers. Rivers.
Okay.
And she had the full get up. She made a Catwoman outfit. And it looks more like the old 60s outfit, the Lee Merriweather outfit, more so than the Michelle Pfeiffer one, just because the Michelle Pfeiffer one hadn't come out yet. So she made this home costume and went on and was basically, talking shit about Tim Burton, like, oh, Timmy, you don't want to see me? And she was like full Catwoman, full Catwoman mode. And it was just kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? But she showed up at this. She did that on Joan Rivers. She showed up at the studio in Hollywood and walked on to one of the sets where Burton was working and was demanding to see him. And they said that he hid in a closet from her because he's like, I don't want to see her. I don't want anything to do with her. So she was that
closet from a woman. Am I the only one? Oh, whatever.
I think so. You and Tim Burton.
God damn. Anyway, go on.
But yeah, I mean, she didn't do. She did a bunch of stuff, but it's like what she was Blade Runner, and then everybody knows her from Ace Ventura. At least people our age and everything like that. So and other romantic stuff along the way.
Captain Winky.
So,
holy shit! Hey. Talk about that one too. We got a whole list of movies we got now. We've mentioned them all night long.
We should have been writing this shit down.
Oh yeah.
Let's go back.
One of these days.
We got a couple now. Well, by God, we could easily talk about this movie for another couple hours.
For sure.
Well, we probably should wrap it up here in a little bit, but gentlemen, any final thoughts on Dick Tracy?
Fucking amazing.
Fucking amazing.
Still holds up.
Fun movie. Minus a couple of couple of things in it. You can show your kids this fucking movie.
No.
There's no cursing in it whatsoever.
No, I mean there's some sexual shit in it, but like very mild, whatever. But I mean it's.
Couldn't you see Madonna's tits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
black fucking see-through. Yeah. But honestly though, when it comes down to it, it's not like I'm not worried, and other parents shouldn't be either when it comes down to movies that have like breasts or the naked body. That's one thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's not a big deal. The big deal is like the sex scenes, whatever the fuck. Dick Tracy doesn't have any sex scenes. Everything's pretty classy. Couple of things you might have to explain, but not really. Like I don't know. It's a good one. I think it's a good film, and it's surprisingly enough, does hold up after all these years. I was really worried about that shit, as I was talking about earlier. I saw Captain America. You remember the original Captain America movie?
Yeah.
When I say the original, I mean the one from the 80s,
Yep.
early 90s with that. Okay. As a kid, I fucking loved that movie. That movie was like, I watched it all the time. I always rented it. It was always there on play. And then I got about 23, 24 years old. And me and my friend were like, dude, we should totally watch Captain America.
Bad idea.
Yeah. There wasn't an amount of pot or whiskey that could bring back our childhood thoughts in that fucking film. And I was afraid that this is what that was going to be, that this was going to be that scenario. No. I recommend Dick Tracy to everyone. There's somebody who say Tracy, 30 seconds, no more dick. 30 seconds, no more dick.
I used to do that the other line all the time whenever I was a kid. I don't know why. I just Tracy. Everywhere I turn, it's Tracy. It's like he's reading my mind. I don't know why I like that.
I did very similar when I was about 14, 15 years old. I was in a band, and the place we practiced at, this long table, and we'd all sit there whatever. And I couldn't help myself. And one day we're all just sitting there, we're all just like silent. And I hit on the table. I was like, Dick Tracy must be stopped. And it just like, I don't know. Like it's always the movie that's honestly stuck with me. You know? Well, what was the nut that Big Boy liked to eat? That sounds so
Walnuts.
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 Yeah. A lot of people like to eat walnuts. I fucking love that movie. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna make my kid watch this. He's gonna love it. So real quick, I grounded my kid from TV for a couple of things recently, and so like I told him in the mornings he couldn't watch TV unless I was watching. So I've been putting on episodes of The Night Stalker. Anybody ever familiar with The Night Stalker? Yeah, backfired. He really enjoyed it.
Oh shit!
Like fuck, kid, you're not supposed to like this shit. But he's like me. It has to do with something scary, and he's all for it. But I don't know where I was going with that.
But kids and adults love this movie. Anybody can watch this movie.
Yeah.
What about the scene where he discovers the bug up in the light?
Yeah. I was going to mention that earlier, but I forgot about it.
Because Bug Bailey spills his coffee and it drips down, and they figure it out. And Pacino is so good. He's like, you see his lips move around. And oh my gosh, just everything's so good about this film. I don't know why. You look and there's like 60% reviews, like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that.
It's crazy.
I never got it either. Because like I said, it got like 3 Academy Awards and was nominated for 7.
It's one of those that like you really have to like watch it yourself and realize if you like it or you don't. Don't listen to critics. It's a fun fucking movie because like seriously, you're not really bored the whole time. You're pretty intrigued the whole movie. Like it's like what, like an hour and 40 minutes or some shit.
Yeah, but it goes by quick.
It goes by way too quick, man. Like that's which makes you want to keep watching it because
that's what I told Dave too. I was like, it feels like this shit went by fast. I was like, last week fucking Garbage Pail Kids was an hour 35 or whatever, and that seemed like a 4-hour long movie.
It felt like
God.
forever. Felt like it was never going to end. Forever.
What?
Oh, yeah. Don't get that stuck in my head again.
No! Damn you! Okay.
What's the matter? You bums forget how to kill people?
So many great lines.
Oh my gosh. I can sit around and quote this shit all day. I love it. It's like I said, the cinematography, amazing. It's pre-CGI, so I have a even more of an appreciation for it because I'm not a huge fan of CGI. The score, Danny Elfman, second to none. The cast, amazing. It's one of those films that's so fun. and so good, just as a comic book film. And it's one of the probably, I always said it's one of the most underrated comic book films out there. Because everybody's so big into Marvel and everything nowadays. And it's like, go back and watch Dick Tracy and get an appreciation for it.
Right.
And
You know what? Yeah.
Just to
Like,
make up
Dick
alone,
Tracy
and it's
doesn't-
fucking great.
Dick Tracy does not get the fucking appreciation it deserves. We the appreciation that it deserves.
Yep.
That sounds better. I think we should bring it back.
so that's it. So Warren Beatty, I know you're watching this. Fucking get Dick Tracy 2 in the pipeline. Get Bruce Campbell on a Dick Tracy TV series.
A Dick Tasty. He was a Dick Tasty.
Tasty. I'm so mad that I can't even speak right.
Dick
At you.
Tasty.
You,
Unleash the dick.
motherfucking Warren Beatty, son of a bitch.
You unleash that fucking dick. You unleash it. We all want you to unleash that dick.
The bottom line is the people want Dick, and you've been depriving them of the dick for so long.
Apparently, he gave a lot of dick on set.
Yeah,
He always did.
Yeah.
Him and Madonna were dating.
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah. Wasn't he like in her book or whatever? Sex.
He proposed to her. Holy shit. I remember that. They said that he proposed to her, and like whenever he proposed and pulled out the ring, she like hesitated. And just because of that like slight hesitation, he was like, no, it's done. Called it off.
Mhm.
He told everybody, oh, I just gave her a friendship ring.
Why would you ever propose to that woman?
Well, at the time, fucking back then.
No. At the time, she was. I've seen the videos of like him hanging out there with the glasses and all that stuff, and all kinds of crazy shit going on. It's very obvious that is not a woman that you want to put a ring on her finger.
No, but at the time, a lot of people don't.
She is 60 years old, and it has a fucking grill.
Well,
and it wallows around on top of Jimmy Kimmel's fucking desk on like Tonight Show shit, whatever.
But back
she
then,
is sad and pathetic. But that's why we have Dick Tracy to remember the days of Madonna.
I mean, he was he was like 52 or 53 years old when he filmed Tracy.
Yeah.
And he's banging Madonna. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put a ring on it because what's he gonna get better than that?
I thought he was.
What's actually really funny though is the fact that we mentioned that like there's only a couple of like Warren Beatty movies we can actually like mention like that we don't even have like a clue of. Warren Beatty's just about forgotten.
Pretty much.
With our generation, because I mean, let's face it. Okay, as the ones before us get older, they pass on. We get older, and we're like, "You're that Dick Tracy." Yeah, you don't remember for all the other shit you played in that you got like awards for, and you were like celebrated for it. We don't remember that shit. Dick Tracy, and also you were that one asshole that Bonnie and Clyde shit. Yeah.
So there
Warren
you have
Beatty is Dick Tracy, and we'll always remember him for just that.
Dick Tracy. That's how we're going to start out the new year. But before we go, it is time once again for our clip of the week.
Oh, yay.
In which time we will pick a random clip from a random movie and see what happens.
I've been staring at this thumbnail for the fucking past hour.
I
So
can't
let's
wait
see
to
what
see
we
what
got.
it is. I love
Me
it.
too.
It makes me happy. Oh, Jesus.
You son of a...
All right.
You son of a bitch.
Oh my God. I'm so glad I didn't take a sip when I watched that.
I heard you laugh.
That's become one of my favorite parts of the show is like the clip of the week because I have no idea what we're fucking showing. Which is slightly terrifying and intriguing.
All at once.
Guaranteed.
Oh my goodness.
Well, gentlemen, before we sign off, does anybody have anything going on?
Yes. Why is it always me? I just feel like that. I got things going on. I do way too much, just for the record. 4 podcasts. This one, Tell Us on the Podcast, tellustthepodcast.com. Check out all that shit on there. That'll tell you everything about the podcast as well as the comic book that we do called Tell Us with Shock and Terror. Go on there, order that shit. All the proceeds go to us putting out the new issue, which is going to be better than the first because the first one, it's good. You'll like it, but the second one's going to be better. Graveyard Talk, Nasty Nation, that's on Anchor, that's on Spotify, that's on a bunch of other places. Look the shit up. Faster Sons of Judas Kill, my fucking band. We're recording our new album right now. Got all the drums done. Got to do guitar and bass, vocals, and then that's just coming out here in the next couple of months. And it's gonna fuck your ears holes up because it's good as shit. It's probably some of our heaviest, most straightforward, in your fucking asshole and out your fucking eye holes, fucking kind of shit.
Fuck you right in the ear, pussy.
God damn,
Wow.
yeah.
Everybody's eyebrows are like, whoa.
Yeah, and let's see. What else have I got going on there? Like I said, Graveyard Talk, Nasty Nation, Anchor, Spotify. Anchor, Spotify, YouTube, for everywhere. Just look up everything. And I also got to throw out Whitman for my buddy on Graveyard Talk. Whitman Photography, Instagram, Facebook, all that shit. Go look at all that shit. Look at it all. More of me than you could ever imagine.
I thought for a second you said I got to throw out women. I was like, what?
He's on a diet.
No, I'm not. Actually, I'm on a diet, not on my own accord.
No fish
Women, come on, bring it to me. I need it. It's what I need.
Mike's got
They
bacon
don't
in his
die.
hand.
I forgot I brought my I found this thermos. I have a pile of shit somewhere. Not an actual pile of shit, but a bunch of Dick Tracy stuff from back in the day.
That's actually really cool.
I have the transistor watch still sealed somewhere. I don't know. I was trying to dig it out, but I couldn't find it.
You were trying to dig it
All the
out.
characters, like
I
all
was
the
trying to dig
figures.
it out. Yeah.
If I had that fucking thermos, that'd be a great thing to drink Jack and Coke out of. Just saying,
There you go. Oh yeah.
There you
it'd be
go.
great. I still have
And don't forget to join us live every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern. And to play us out,
Wait,
we have a little
what-
preview for what we're doing next week.
I was gonna say, what's happening next week?
Next week
Next
is a very
week.
special night, ladies and gentlemen, as it will be our 50th episode. Has it been that long? It has. Next week is our 50th episode special. And to play us out, we have a little preview for what we have in store for you, ladies and gentlemen. Please enjoy.
Did you know Video Store Clerks 50th episode is Wednesday?
Huh?
Now you know!